What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about how to become a more adventurous dresser. We've all been there, right? We've looked at our wardrobe, we looked at our fit pics, and when something's just not there, there's just a bit of something missing, a certain je ne sais quoi. So today I'm going to go for some tips on how to add that little bit of sauce to your wardrobe and how to do it right. Because anyone can wear attention-grabbing clothes, but you want it to still look good. And most importantly as well, you want it to be authentic to yourself. So we're gonna get into these tips, but first of all, please remember to check out archerandwoods.com and sign up to the Substack The Guidance, which is just a newsletter I send out near daily with links to pre-owned items I find from all the big resale sites like eBay, Depop, Grailed. I'll put everything in the description for that. But enough about me, let's get into these tips. So the first one is really important and it start off low and slow. And what I mean by that is when you look at your wardrobe and you look at your outfits in general, and you wanna be a little bit more experimental, you wanna be a bit more creative, you don't want to go too far in a direction that you're not sure you really want to live in. This is really important because you don't want to be buying a whole new wardrobe with items that you might only like for a few weeks or a few months and then never wear again. This has happened to me a few times. I got really into a bit more of an oversized look a couple of years ago and I bought a load of wide leg trousers, a load of more looser fitting clothes. And to be honest, while I still like the look and I like the aesthetic, it just wasn't me. It didn't suit my body type too well, but it wasn't just that. It just didn't fit my personality that much and the places I was going, and it just wasn't the sort of style of dressing that I see for myself. I still have a few pieces of looser or wider fitting clothing knocking around and I'll still wear them, but I spent a lot of money on stuff that I ended up reselling pretty quickly. So to save your money and your time with this, what I'd say to do is get one or two pieces, try them out for a few weeks. If you still like them after that, that's a really good sign, and then you can start to invest in more and slowly build up your wardrobe from there. This slow approach will also help you adapt to this new style of dressing, because a lot of times when people try new things, they don't like them immediately when they look at themselves in the mirror, and it just might take your brain some time to adjust to seeing yourself in a new way of dressing, like a new silhouette. So yeah, start off slow, add a few pieces as you go, and then you'll know you're on the right path. And that actually brings me on to my next tip, and that's to play around with color and silhouette. So be careful with this one, because especially with color, you don't need to be going to neon or bright colors and be a bit peacocky. You can still use earthy, rich, natural tones, but maybe just a color palette you don't normally wear. For instance, a lot of guys are stuck wearing blues and navies, and that's great because I still think it should be a color cornerstone of most people's wardrobes, because I think most people look good in navy, but you can branch out from there. Use other earthy tones, greens, ecrues, and you got a whole load of colors that go together really nicely because they're natural colors. And the other things you may want to try to do as well is try things out like monochrome dressing. So this would be outfits all in the same color but just different tones, and it can have a really nice effect. The other thing that could be a really big easy win is silhouette. So you guys know, if you've watched any of my videos, that I'm a huge fan of high-waisted trousers. This is still a criminally underworn piece of clothing for men, and I think especially when you're coming from your sort of like early 20s into your sort of like nearer 30s and beyond, this can be the real game changer. By wearing a high-waisted trouser or jean, by that I don't mean you need to have trousers up to your nipples. You can just wear a slightly higher waistline to what you normally wear and then build on that. And by doing that, you'll elongate your legs, you'll make the whole outfit just look so much more pleasing overall. Other things for silhouette is, and it's a real key one, is avoiding skinny jeans or anything skinny. Going for maybe a slightly wider fit and maybe a different structure to your shoulders. A lot of guys that I have as clients who, when we look at their suits, they still have a very old school, fast fashion silhouette when it comes to their tailoring. And that's like quite a bit of padding in the shoulders, lower waistline, short jacket. So if you get a jacket that's a bit longer, so covering your butt is normally a really good rule of thumb. With the shoulder, padding is not a problem, but I think you can play around with different sort of styles when it comes to your shoulder. So maybe try something without any structure, so a soft shoulder. Also things like lapel size, making sure you've got a nice size lapel, something that covers this area a bit more than just like a skinny, thin little thing that just goes down like this. It never looks good. So the next tip is to not go too costumey. Now there's a real common theme with guys who are trying to dress a bit more formal and wear more suits and tailoring, that they'll follow a path that is a bit Peaky Blinderish or maybe go a bit dandyish, and they'll try to implement that one for one. So they'll try and pretty much replicate what the Peaky Blinders wear or what like old school dandy wears. There are guys that do that great, and there are guys that can really make it their own. But when you're trying to copy a very strong theme, when people do look at you, they just think of either the Peaky Blinders or a dandy. They're not seeing someone who's dressing their own style. And so what I would say to do instead is to take the pieces that you like from them, be it wearing a shirt and a tie or a certain color palette, or maybe it's like a chalk stripe suit, And then maybe integrate that into your wardrobe and then start to add your own different things. And take inspiration from elsewhere as well. What I like to do is build a big Pinterest board as like a mood board and just throw in images that I like and then try to mix and match different things from the mood board into one outfit. So for instance, mixing tailoring with a bit of workwear, like some tailored trousers with a chore jacket. I mean, it's something that's been done before lots, like wearing a denim shirt and a suit. Like it's been done loads. It's only by experimenting and playing around that you actually get those looks. So for my next tip, it's for the guys who like their wardrobe, they like what they wear in general, but they just want to turn up the dial a little bit. And I would say to focus on two things, and that's your overcoat and your shoes. And the reason these two are really great to play around with is first of all, with the overcoat, it's something you can really be a bit more creative with and a bit expressive with without it being at the detriment to the rest of the outfit. So for instance, something like a raglan sleeve coat with a strong check, or maybe you want to go for something with like a heavy sort of like herringbone pattern to it. You can do that with a coat and it isn't too much, but maybe a suit with a really strong pattern would just be a bit gaudy and maybe a bit showy. And it's similar with shoes as well. And I'm not saying to be really over the top with the shoes, but what I would say to a lot of guys, if they haven't already, is play around with loafers or play around with a different shoe style. Keep it classic still, but maybe just something you don't normally go for. Loafers are a really big one for me, so like horsebit loafers, or maybe like Horatio do some great different materials, like a kind of like lizard skin material, or maybe we'll just go with the horsebit with like a gold bar on it instead of a silver one. And you can just play around with those little details. Also boots are a big one for me. Like I love the Our Legacy Cameo boots, and there's a lot of other brands that do some, like 316 do a great pair. I've got a few pairs of them now in different sort of styles. I've got like a pony hair one, and I'm not someone that tends to go too out there with my style choices, but they're an item of clothing that I feel quite confident and comfortable in if just by going that little bit further with them. But because often I'm wearing them in the summertime, I'm wearing them with denim or like a bit more casual clothing. And I just feel that being a bit more playful with these is just easier still, and it just works with the rest of the outfit more. Right, fine, next tip is to know when you're going too far. And this is a completely personal thing, and I think it's knowing yourself essentially with this. For a lot of us, and I'm definitely one for it, where especially if I'm excited about something, and you know, you buy a few new items that are different and you like the look of it, so then you buy some more. Maybe you go a little bit wider with the fit, or maybe you go a little bit more out there with the material used, or maybe the lapel size. And we all have our own limits, but we don't necessarily see them coming. What I would say to do is to maintain your purchasing at a slow, steady level. If you are getting into that, rather than buying big hauls of clothing and then not wearing the items and really appreciating them and seeing how they really look on you, and by regularly checking in on that. I think your subconscious will tell you when you've gone a little bit too far, when you stop wearing the clothes, or you feel a little bit silly sometimes. It's just dressing in clothes at the end of the day. Like, none of us would really feel too silly about our style choices. It's just an outfit. But there are definitely times when my internal subconscious monologue has gone, you know what, I think you've gone a little bit too far here, maybe we should rein it in. And then my next tip, especially when you're starting off, is to actually wear these clothes. I know it can be quite daunting at times, changing your style, or maybe adding one or two things in there that you'd never wear normally, especially when like other people see you and they're quite shocked at what you're wearing. If they're not used to seeing you dressed like that, or wear something that isn't your normal style, you may get comments. But I think the big real key is to wear these clothes and try it out, and don't worry about what other people think or say, because people will make comments if you're wearing something a little bit different than you usually are, especially if you're going to like an office or something like that. It's just, people just have to say something. It's just nature. But I think the way you dress and the way you sort of plan your clothes and integrate clothing into your normal outfits that you just grab subconsciously, it's kind of like a muscle, and so you have to almost force yourself to add those new things into your rotation, into your way of thinking when you are putting together outfits in your brain. And yeah, it's a muscle you have to build up and use, and eventually it just becomes second nature. And that actually brings me on to my final point, and that is just to enjoy it. I think especially when you're dressing and putting together your wardrobe out of an interest or a passion, you should really enjoy it, and you shouldn't feel silly, or you shouldn't feel uncomfortable if you really like something and you want to try it out and wear it and express yourself in it. You should enjoy it, you should feel confident in it, and you know what, if you brick a fit, so what? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, but it's better that you try something, because ultimately I feel like dressing can be one of the ultimate forms of expression, because what better way is there? You've put these clothes on, you're wearing them throughout your day, so it can be a really powerful thing. And for me personally, I think in confidence wise, it's helped me no end. So I think it's great when you really enjoy it, when you really thought about it, and you're really involved in the way you're dressing, the way you're presenting yourself to the rest of the world, because it can be the biggest confidence boost ever. And if you let it get you, it can be the biggest confidence knock as well. But anyway guys, they were my tips. Let me know in the comments below if you have any others you'd like to share as well. Remember to check out Archie & Woods and sign up to the Substack The Guidance. I also offer one-on-one online sessions as well, so check out the website archeronwards.com for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.